Ha ha ha, Du Shiniang, Du Shiniang, you have ambition in your heart, but tears cannot help. A famous prostitute of the time, she had the wish to marry a scholarly man, but alas, this is the story of a woman deceived by a heartless man, a typical plot of a passionate woman betrayed by a cold-hearted man. Du Shiniang thought she could escape the suffering of 8 years, but with her nature, drawn to water, she ultimately ends her life in the despair of the endless Yangtze River. Why did Du Shiniang choose to believe this heartless man? Why did the man who once took her as his bride abandon her? The story takes place in the prosperous city of Yinchuan, where Du Shiniang, now a famous prostitute, has become quite renowned. The best measure of value here is money. Oh, 5 taels of silver for a meeting, 10 taels for a game of chess, 20 to 30 taels for a painting or calligraphy. Soon, the male lead, Li Jia, arrives. He comes from an official family and, while preparing for the imperial exam, is also thinking about enjoying some pleasures to strengthen himself. He spends all the money he carries, several thousand taels, on Du Shiniang. Now, Du Shiniang is a top-tier entertainer, her schedule packed with work. Her caretaker, after managing to lift a money tree, hopes to make a huge profit during her prime. Wealthy officials come to see her, and when Li Jia hears that Du Shiniang is not around, he chooses to barge in. Even with the door locked, he insists on entering, determined to find out what's going on. When Du Shiniang sees that she can't hide, she comes out, showing her strong personality. We are flowers and women who entertain the masters, but do I not deserve to have my own sickness or disaster? We are also human, we need medicine when we're sick. All these men see us as precious toys. Don't I have to paint or write for them, piece by piece? The caretaker apologizes continuously, but Li Jia refuses to leave and insists on having Du Shiniang accompany him. Compared to the crude, aggressive men, Li Jia's gentle care makes him more appealing to her. Over time, they fall in love, and Du Shiniang thinks of asking him to buy her freedom and marry her. Although Li Jia was born humble, he dreams of a life of elegance, just like the lotus flower he so admires in Du Shiniang. This is one of the reasons why he loves her, besides her beauty. Li Jia agrees to buy her freedom but remembers that he came to the capital for the exam. He decides to put off the purchase until after the exam and stays at Du Shiniang's place to study. As he reads, she lights his lamp. As he writes, she watches him. Their relationship seems harmonious, but it also seems like a case of a man living off a woman. Du Shiniang, aware that being surrounded by such distractions may hinder Li Jia, asks him to leave. Nevertheless, she still hopes he will visit occasionally, as she waits for him to give her a home. To alleviate her loneliness, Li Jia sends her a bird to keep her company. Upon seeing it, Du Shiniang feels like a bird trapped in a cage, just as she feels trapped in her own life. She decides to set the bird free, symbolizing her desire for freedom. As the days pass, Du Shiniang waits for Li Jia to finish his exams so that she can regain her freedom. However, after the exam, Li Jia fails to make the list. With his pockets empty, he has no face to meet his beloved mistress. His servant pulls him in, but to save his face, they go in through the back door. At the same time, the wealthy salt merchant, Sun, arrives and offers Du Shiniang the chance to make a large sum of money if she accompanies him to a banquet on a ship. Li Jia, realizing that Du Shiniang could make money from Sun, becomes upset, as he now sees her as a prize. Sun, who had previously failed to win her over, is not pleased with Li Jia's reaction. After a bit of coercion, Li Jia reluctantly agrees to let Du Shiniang accompany Sun to the banquet. But as they travel, the reality of their situation becomes clear to Du Shiniang. She wonders if she will ever escape her circumstances, and whether she is only a pawn in the larger game of wealth and power. In the end, despite her efforts to remain hopeful, Du Shiniang realizes that her life has been one long series of disappointments. She watches as the river swallows her jewels, symbolizing the loss of everything she once valued, including her pride and dignity. In the face of betrayal and unfulfilled promises, Du Shiniang finds herself hopeless and disillusioned with love, life, and the men who have failed her. The story of Du Shiniang serves as a powerful reminder of the complexities of love, trust, and self-worth. It highlights the delicate balance between hope and reality, especially when we place our trust and faith in others. Du Shiniang's belief in Li Jia is symbolic of how we often place our happiness and future in the hands of those we love, only to find ourselves let down when they fail to deliver. Her unwavering hope for a better life, based on promises made by someone she loved, ultimately led her to deep disappointment and despair. This story also brings to light an important life lesson about self-worth and self-reliance. Du Shiniang's journey through love, betrayal, and heartbreak shows us how crucial it is to maintain a sense of self-respect and self-value, regardless of the promises or actions of others. She spent years relying on Li Jia, waiting for him to fulfill his vow to redeem her, but in the end, it was her own strength and determination that allowed her to take control of her life, even though it came too late. The lesson here is clear: we should never allow ourselves to be defined by the actions or inactions of others. While it is important to love and trust, we must also learn to trust ourselves and ensure that we do not lose sight of who we are and what we deserve. Du Shiniang's journey teaches us the importance of emotional independence. While love can be a beautiful and powerful force, it should never come at the cost of our own dignity, peace, or sense of self. Additionally, Du Shiniang's decision to throw away the treasures she had accumulated over the years is a poignant reminder of how material possessions, while often valued in society, cannot replace emotional fulfillment or true happiness. In her final act of reclaiming her freedom, she chose to abandon the things that once held her to a life of false promises. This was a powerful moment of self-liberation, showing that, sometimes, letting go of the material and superficial things in life is the first step toward true freedom. Li Jia's role in the story also teaches us a valuable lesson about integrity and commitment. His failure to keep his promise and his inability to provide for Du Shiniang, despite his initial good intentions, underscores the importance of being honest and responsible in our commitments. He, too, learned a bitter lesson about the consequences of not following through on promises made to those we care about. The emotional cost of his actions was far greater than any material loss, and in the end, his inability to act in Du Shiniang's best interest caused irreparable damage to their relationship. Lastly, the story of Du Shiniang emphasizes the need to recognize when it's time to let go. Sometimes, even when we hold on to hope for a better future, we must accept the reality that certain relationships or situations no longer serve us. Du Shiniang's decision to move on, even though it was painful, allowed her to take control of her destiny. It was a difficult choice, but it was necessary for her to regain her sense of autonomy and peace. In conclusion, Du Shiniang's story is not just one of love and betrayal, it is a story of personal growth, self-discovery, and empowerment. It teaches us that while love can be a transformative force, we must never forget to love ourselves and ensure that our happiness and dignity are never dependent on others. We should strive to maintain our sense of self-worth, embrace independence, and understand that true fulfillment comes from within, not from external sources. The takeaway. The biggest lesson we can learn from Du Shiniang's story is the importance of self-respect and emotional independence. Love should never strip us of our sense of self-worth. We must remember to always prioritize our emotional well-being and happiness, even when it seems like the world is pushing us into despair. True strength comes from within, and it is through our own actions and choices that we can ultimately find peace and fulfillment.